Hello, this is the luckiest maths teacher in the world. Today we're doing more simple interest calculations, but instead of calculating the interest, we're going to calculate either the principal, rate, or time. So we're going to use the same formula that we used in the previous lesson. Interest equals principal times rate times time over 100. You may have also seen it written like this: principal times rate over 100 times time. It doesn't matter which formula you use, they're exactly the same. So, if I just look at the first part of this, I equals PRT over 100, this is just an equation with 1, 2, 3, 4 variables. So there are 4 letters that change value from question to question. So if I know the value of 3 of these, I can solve this equation to find the 4th. For example, if I know the interest, the principal, and the rate, then I can solve to find the time. If I know the interest, the rate, and the time, I can solve to find the principal. So you're just going to be following a few simple steps that I'll put up now. So just follow these 3 steps that are on your screen. You have to first figure out whether you're finding P, R, or T. Then you substitute the other 3 variables whose value you already know, and then you rearrange and solve the equation. So these questions involve solving an equation. So let's go ahead and look at an example of a question you might be given. So let's do this question up here in red. How much money must I invest in order to earn $3,000 interest if I invest for 5 years at 6% per annum? So I want you to recognize that the reason this question is different to what you were doing in the previous lesson is I already know the interest. I'm told it's $3,000. So I'm actually not finding the interest, but I have to find something else. So the question says, how much money must I invest? So that's the same as asking for the principal, how much I started with. So the first step's done. I've determined the variable I'm asked to find is P. I move on to step 2 now. So I'm going to write out the equation that I'm using. So I've got I equals P R T over 100. Now, I know 3 of these already. I know I know the rate, R, and I know the time, T. So I'm going to substitute all of those values in. So I told you interest is 3,000. I got that just from the question, no calculation required. So now I'm going to change R. So R is the rate, it's 6% per annum. So of course remember that PR means P times R. And 6% per annum means 6% per year. So that means that T has to be in years, so it's 5 years, okay? So again, R and T must be in the same units. So now what I've got here is I've got an equation, and there is only one variable, P. There's only one thing to find, so I can solve this quite easily. So step 3, I'm going to rearrange the equations. First, I'm going to clean up the right side to make it easier. So I've still got 3,000 equals, so P times 6 times 5, that's just 30P over 100. So the way I solve this, I want to get P by itself, so I need to undo dividing by 100, so I'm going to times each side of the equation by 100. Okay, so then I get 300,000 equals 30P, so that's 30 times P. How do I undo timesing by 30? I divide each side by 30. And then I'm just left with 10,000 equals P. So that means that I've found out that if I want to earn $3,000 interest by investing for 5 years at 6% per annum, I need to originally invest $10,000. So you should write a sentence after that. So you say, therefore, I need to invest $10,000. So this makes sense, right? Because if I take 6% of $10,000, that is $600. So I earn $600 each year, so I would earn $3,000 in 5 years, all right? So I'm just going to do one more example. Please pause and copy down if you need this one. Okay, so let's have a go at this one. How long will it take to double my investment if I invest $3,000 at 12.5% per annum? So this one you may be a little confused. You might be saying, well, hang on a minute, I'm only told 3,000 is the principal and 12.5% is the rate. But didn't Mr. Lag just say, actually, you need to know 3 of these variables? Well, if we're talking about doubling an investment, that means the interest is the same as the principal. So if I invest $3,000, I want the investment to become $6,000. So I need the interest to be $3,000. So make sure you understand that. When you're doubling the investment, the interest that you earn is the same amount that you started with. So in this case, both I and P are $3,000. So first step, what am I trying to find, P, R, or T? Well, it says how long. I'm being asked the time, so I'm trying to find T. So next thing I will do is I will put in I equals P R T over 100. So as I just told you, the interest I want to earn is 3,000, so I'll put that in. The principal is also 3,000 because that's what I started with. And then, of course, 3,000 R means 3,000 times R. And then I'm going to change R, of course, to 12.5 because the rate is 12.5. So it's 3,000 times 12.5 times T. Okay? So that's the second step done. So now I'm just going to tidy up the right-hand side of the equation. So I'm not actually solving yet. So if I just do 3,000 times 12.5 divided by 100, I get 375. So I've got 3,000 equals 375T. So now what I do is I just divide each side by 375. So I did this slightly different to the previous question. You can do it either way. What I can do is I can simplify all of this, including the 100 on the bottom, or I can just simplify the top of the fraction. Either way is fine. And so if I divide 3,000 by 375, I get 8 equals T. But remember, the rate that was given to me originally, 12.5%, is per annum. So T's got to be in the same unit. So this is actually 8 years. So I'll just say, therefore, I need to invest for 8 years. So if I invest $3,000 at 12.5% per annum, after 8 years, I will have earned $3,000 interest. So the total amount I have will be $6,000. All right, I hope you've enjoyed this video. This has been the luckiest maths teacher in the world. Have a great day.